Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen around the world, wherever you are. Welcome to Magic the Gathering Arena, where today we are looking at Grixis tap-out control in Explorer. Been having a lot of fun with this new format. It is incredible in that you don't have to worry about alchemy, you don't have to worry about random sets being added in. It's just all of the sets that have been printed, that we know, that we love. No sudden changes on paper to Arena. Thank you, Wizards. I appreciate that. I really rather do. Now please do the same for Modern so I can play with Seasoned Pyromancer without having to worry about alchemy. Okay, that aside, what is this deck trying to do? So we built this deck around Nicol Bolaii, the Ravager, right? This card is really, really good. It is a 4-mana 4/4 flyer, which is pretty much par for the course. Out of what you want in a creature in an older format like Pioneer / Explorer / even like, well, I mean, this is probably not good enough for Modern, but for Explorer and Pioneer it's still fine, the stats at least. The ability of it forcing a discard when it hits the board means that it is practically guaranteed to get you a 2-for-1 because they discard a card and then you either trade this off against something or they have to spend a removal spell, in which case you are up a card. So this is card advantage in itself. It is legendary, so even though I started with 4, there were too many awkward hands where I just had like 3 Nicol Bolaii, and opponent never killed them, but didn't have to worry about killing them either. Like, it was a 4/4, but they were able to beat a 4/4 because, you know, I played a 4/4, you can't win. Like, that's really not how that goes. But there are definitely decks that will completely struggle against this. Like, you stick this against mono red, unless they happen to draw their lava coil, they'll have discarded a card and then they'll probably just spend like a burn spell plus one of their creatures to kill this guy. That is extremely valuable. And he is also 4 mana, which can be also a lot of games in Explorer are getting decided based on my playtesting so far, like pretty earlier than that. Greasefang with Vehicle Reanimation is a very, very, very common deck, and that deck just gets free wins on turn 3 a lot of the time. So even though this is good, multiple copies all the time this is not your standard deck of old. There are 3 other Nicol Bolaii in the deck, and there was actually, like, I started with 4 Nicol Bolaii the Ravager, 3 of this, and then this guy right here, Nicol Bolaii God Pharaoh. So actually I started with 8 Nicol Bolaii in the deck, so I literally called it Nicol Bolaii. But now, you know, with Croxa, Bone Crusher Giants, Graveyard Trespassers, there's a lot more death and other red and black, and this is a true Grixis deck. Nicol Bolaii's Grixis colors, Golden's Command and Croxa are Rakdos colors. There's the discard theme of Rakdos going strong. Bone Crusher Giant is a very red card, very powerful as well. But at the same time, you also have a lot of cards that are very blue-black, primarily Tainted Indulgence, the draw discard and then potentially just drawing 2 cards later on in the game. Cantripping, returning a permanent that Grixis can't deal with very easily, like enchantments. I've made it now so that black has answers to just about everything. Black has Feed the Swarm to directly kill enchantments. I have ways to make the other player sacrifice enchantments. Farika's Libation comes to mind. Debt to the Kami as well. So if you really want Enchantment Hate, you can get a limited amount of enchantment destruction in black now. Invoke Despair as well, I suppose. But we're not really going for that. We're going for more all-purpose removal, dispersal in the main, and then Baleful Mastery can also deal with Planeswalkers. If you're specifically worried about artifacts and enchantments, Kolaghan's Command deals with artifacts, and then we have Angaret's Rampages in the sideboard, and then Ashiok Nightmare Muse to deal with, again, any non-land permanent. Another nice thing about this deck is sometimes you don't have to care if your opponent is playing non-land permanents you can't answer. This card on 8 says, win the game. So there's that. And then this ultimate doesn't actually win you the game, but this guy does. But like, if you get either of this guy or this guy in play, it is really difficult to lose. You do some serious work with these Planeswalkers. Also, by the way, yes, it's a 4/4 that generates value that also turns into a Planeswalker. Also, side note, he triggers your Fatal Push. So these cards are all actively quite strong. Now, we only unfortunately have 2 Fabled Passage to trigger our Fatal Push. I can't really justify playing 4 Fabled Passage in this deck. Your mana requirements are so tight with triple black here, double black, blue black, red, red black, double red, double black. The only color that we don't need double off is blue. So it's actually possible that this Hall of the Storm Giant shouldn't be here, and instead I should have something like a Den of the Bugbear, or a Sokenzan, or even a Field of Ruin. But Field of Ruin is really, like, it's really hard to justify in a deck where you need 5 colors of mana on turn 5. You really want to cast this guy on curve whenever you can. And it's hard enough without having colorless sources. So I think, actually, now that I think about the mana base, by the way, the mana base, Xander's Lounge is the big new addition from Streets of New Capenna. Didn't have the rare wild card, so we're playing 3, but you should probably be playing 4 of this guy. Card's really good. Makes all your colors of mana, cycles later on. It's just, this card is bonkers. It makes playing Grixis feel so smooth. Like, the fact that you can cast Kroxa and Nicol Bolaii Dragon God on curve without Shocklands. I know it's tapped, but still, it is really good. Okay, so Nicol Bolaii, big reason to go Grixis. What are the supporting cast? If you're playing black and you're playing mid-range / not aggro, even some aggro decks will run Thoughtseize, but you're playing sort of a proactive mid-rangey deck. You are essentially a control deck because you're just killing all their stuff and playing just like big planeswalkers. But also you have a proactive game plan to win the game, so this is not the slowest, most dirtly controlled deck out there. This is not Elixir of Immortality, Sphinx's Revelations, Planar Cleansing control, or even the new version of that, Shigeki. We've seen several different iterations of control decks that just do nothing. Double Devious Cover-Up is probably the worst of the lot that we've seen in recent years. Nephalia Drowneyard was an offender before that. Now it's Shigeki Endless Detour. And then in the interim, we also had another one of these. We had Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, tucking himself over and over again with his ultimate. There was that. So you've had different versions of no win condition control take over the game at different stages, but this is really not like that. This is, you can definitely close out the game. Like, if you go turn 2 Stomp, turn 3 Bonecrusher Giant, turn 4 Ravager, turn 5 Nicol Bolas, you're going to win a lot of games off of that curve. At least that's the hope. So, again, who are the supporting cast? We've got 1 Sorin the Mirthless. I replaced the 4th Nicol Bolas the Ravager with Sorin the Mirthless. I was torn between quite a few things, but here's my reasoning. Step 1 is a 4-drop just like this. We are pretty glutted on the 3-drop slot already, and we have enough early cheap interaction that I didn't think we needed anymore. And 5 is a lot more than 4, and we already have Nicol Bolaii Dragon God, and occasionally Crux of Fate, so I wanted a 4-drop. Sorin the Mirthless is alright. He's no Kalitas Trader of Get. What I would really be playing in this deck, if I were allowed to, is 2 copies of Kalitas Trader of Get. That card is busted. That card is bloody good. Lifelink, making things exile. While it is legal in Pioneer, they have not added it to Arena via Explorer yet. It's from Oath of the Gatewatch, and they haven't really done a Zendikar Remastered or added it to Jumpstart. Why would they? We still have Zendikar Rising legal in the format, so they didn't need to do a remastered set for that. But because we're missing Kalitas, this is looking to replicate a little bit of that card advantage, life-gaining thing that Kalitas would do. It's not perfect, but it's something. Okay. Well, if you're playing Grixis, or just red-black in general, you should probably have at least 2 Kolaghan's commands in your deck. We have creatures. That's good enough reason to play Kolaghan's Command. Like, if you have no creatures, even then, sometimes you'll play Kolaghan's Command. But given that we have good creatures to get back, I'm perfectly happy playing Kolaghan's Command in this deck, and you should absolutely be playing too. This card is so versatile, so flexible, you should absolutely be playing it. Crux of Fate is our board wipe of choice. If you take a look, destroy all creatures in these colors. Oh, did I forget to turn on? Not good. Okay. You've got Ritual of Soot that only kills little guys. Blood on the Snow, which we really can't play. This deck is not built for a snow mana base. Bontu's Last Reckoning, which taps you out. Path of Peril, which is fine against little guys, but you can never cast the Cleave version, which is not great. Phyrexian Scriptures is a turn slow, so Crux of Fate it is. Crux of Fate, 5 mana, which is unfortunate. Doomscar can come out as early as turn 3. Shadow the Sky, Depopulate are turn 4 rats. But Crux of Fate can sometimes in this deck be Plague Wind, and that is very good. If you can go Nicol Bolas the Ravager into Crux of Fate, destroy all non-dragons, Obviously, if your opponent is playing a mixture of dragons and non-dragons, this is bad. However, hopefully with our targeted removal, we can kill either one or the other of the category and then clean it up with the rest. Only 2 rats. This deck is actually playing a significant number of creatures, so it does establish a board presence. Or in the Mirthless also puts creatures into play. Graveyard Trespasser, Croxa, Bonecrusher Giant. So this deck, like, it is a control deck, but it's like more mid-rangey than anything. It's like it's a very fine line between mid-range and control, and this deck is straddling that line very, very well. So this is just 2 board wipes from me, at least in the main. So that's this. So we've got 2 board wipes. Now, the early removal, how do you survive? Well, 4 Fatal Push, 4 Stomp, 2 Baleful Mastery. These 10 cards can be cast on or before turn 2, and they form the removal package that hopefully helps us stay alive against things like a Llanowar Elf Start, Steel Leaf Champion. Although Steel Leaf Champion, you're only killing it with Fatal Push if you have either your Fabled Passages, or if you got a Croxa activation, or if you have Baleful Mastery. But essentially you get the idea, right? Like, worrisome 1-drops or 2-drops that'll kill you quite quickly if you just need to get rid of them. Fatal Push is the best guy for the job still. Bonecrusher Giant, I do not need to sing this card's praises any further, at least I hope not. The fact that it goes anywhere. It can close out a game by going face. It can kill an early creature. It can finish off a Planeswalker that just activated a minus ability. And the fact that it then leaves behind a 4/3 body that will still often deal 2 damage. It's aggressive. It's just very good. He protect. He attack. He's red. You're playing red. You're playing this. Like, if you're playing a red deck, unless it's a very dedicated combo deck, you have a lot of justifying to do before you can just say, oh, I'm not going to play Bonecrusher Giant. So 4 Bonecrusher Giants, so it's like this is our removal package. Fatal Push is a pretty non-brainer. This is the only real card that you can play on turn 1 if you really seriously care about killing stuff. You've got a couple of things like Flame Blessed Bolts, and Strangles, and even Bloodchief's Thirsts, but Fatal Push being instant is huge. Fatal Push kills Manlands. The fact that it kills anything up to 4 CMC at 1 mana, it's so efficient what it does. We still do have a couple of Bloodchief's Thirsts in the sideboard for this kind of situation, because Bloodchief's Thirst can also sort of fill out the same role of killing a creature early, alternatively killing something later, but importantly, it's a sorcery. Their conditions are different. This needs you to pay 3 mana. This needs you to have Revolt in order to do more than just kill a thing that's mana 2 or less. You know what? Of those 2 options, I will definitely take the Revolt over paying 3 extra mana. But I then realized if most of my spot removals are going to be Fatal Pushes and Bonecrusher Giants, there are going to be times when I was not going to be able to reliably get rid of big creatures. So I'm playing out this Baleful Mastery. I can pay full price for it eventually if I need to. Alternatively, I can just pay 2 mana and really get rid of something terrifying early on, like an Old Growth Troll. It's card disadvantage when you do that, but we have a lot of ways to recoup that card disadvantage from the deck. So if we just desperately need to stay alive, I think Baleful Mastery is the best 2-drop removal that you can get. Eliminate, Heartless Act, Infernal Grasp, these are all okay, but this exiles, and it hits creatures and Planeswalkers, and it doesn't have any conditions attached. I think it's really good, and it's kind of what this deck needs, given that the rest of our removal is the way that it is. Damage-based removal, board wipe. This is our removal package. This is how we don't die to creatures. Of course, sometimes we'll play against decks that don't have creatures to kill. Opposing control decks, for example. What do you do then? Tainted Indulgence. The reason I can get away with playing 25 lands in a deck like this, the combination of Discovery and Tainted. So Discovery has always been a very good cantrip. Surveil 2 is especially good combo with Croxa. Again, if you're playing red-black and you're putting cards in the graveyard, which we're playing a lot of spells, so graveyard naturally gets filled up. We're not turbo milling, so we're not going to have like 10 cards in our graveyard by turn 4. So I'm not going to max out on Croxa, but I am planning to just, play spells and have things hit the bin. Croxa is very, very good in those situations. These grindy attrition matchups, especially combined with Thoughtseize, it really puts a massive amount of pressure on the opponent's hand. Once you get a Nicol Bolaii Dragon God out as well, Kroxa, Thoughtseize, Nicol Bolaii Dragon God, Kolaghan's Command even, the opponent gets empty-handed very, very, very quickly. This deck is surprisingly good at disrupting the opponent's hand. And I say surprisingly good because we're not playing things that are intended just like, aha, my opponent will be hellbent, make him discard 2 cards, just play all these dedicated. We have the only dedicated discard is Thoughtseize. That's why this mid-range pile is good. It does things, its card does things, even without you trying to make them stick to a specific theme. Kroxa is good by itself, but then it helps fuel the discard theme that, let's say, protects this Graveyard Trespasser, or this Nicol Bolas, or this Sorin the Mirthless. Bonecrusher Giant is very good by itself, but it can team up very nicely with a Kolaghan's Command, or in combat to finish something off. Crux of Fate, it's a Wrath, but then also it's a Wrath that sometimes leaves our creatures alive. These cards are all good by themselves, but then together they get better. Thoughtseizes, sometimes dead draws. Once the opponent is actually hellbent, more of these is really bad. Discovery, Dispersal. Discovery, I mean, just discoveries. Dispersal does nothing about drawing extra Thoughtseize. But Discovery can help you make sure you don't draw the Thoughtseizes. Tainted Indulgences can get rid of Thoughtseize and Kroxa if you do draw them, and eventually it's just a draw 2, which is insane. 2 mana draw 2. We like that. Expressive Iteration forces you to jump through so many hoops. It's a sorcery. You have to play on turn 3, and once you play on turn 3, you gotta find a land to exile in your set. Tainted Indulgence. Later on, it just draws 2. Early on, if you can discard a card that you don't care about, that's basically like you drew 2. And the fact that we have Kroxa to fuel up from the discard, that still makes this feel like a draw 2. This card is really good. And besides just the blue pip in Nicol Bolaii is another one of the reasons to play Grixis. This really helps smooth out your draws. With 6 cantrip spells on turn 2, you're almost never going to have to mulligan as long as you have 2 lands. So what next? Well, next up we've got a few flex slots, right? Obviously you don't have to play Kroxa, although I highly recommend you do. Why would you not play Kroxa in a deck like this? It's just everything the deck wants to do. Again, you don't have to play Baleful Masteries. You don't have to play Crux of Fate specifically. I guess you could go with cards that are not Discovery Dispersal, but just the ability to bounce anything, like instant speed. They play a big threat, you make them pick it up and you make them discard it on your next turn or on that turn itself. It's very powerful. It's one of the ways that this deck can get rid of permanents that it can't otherwise get rid of, things like Shark Typhoon, for example. So while there are a couple of flex slots, this is the starting configuration I'm going to go with. For the most part, the game plan of the deck is Thoughtseize turn 1, kill a thing turn 2, stick a threat turn 3, turn 4, turn 5, end the game. Alternatively, kill a thing, make them discard, wipe their board, and then now they have nothing and you can just play whatever you want to win the game. Like, that basic game plan remains the same. So what sideboard are we starting out with? Well, we've had quite a few things in here actually, but after a few iterations, I think we got there. Okay, I'm also going to move up this Malevolent Hermit because it's slight OCD. Pair of Bloodchief's Thirst to complement all of this removal early game. Mono red is a thing, mono white is a thing, mono green is a thing. Just 2 more cards that just say, okay, I'm going to pay 1 mana and kill a thing is very, very good. 2 Ashiok Dream Renders. Lots of decks showing up in Pioneer that do a pretty good job of using the graveyard. Ashiok Dream Render, just nullifying that completely, is very, very powerful. So we're going to play a couple of this guy. Might be incorrect to have 2 of him, but the matchups that he's good in, he's so good in, you really want to see a copy of him. Also, note that it says target player mills 4 cards, then exile each opponent's graveyard. So you can either mill your opponent, or once you draw a Kroxa, or once you know that you're near a Kroxa, then you can target yourself and just activate your Kroxa over and over again, which is a fun little combo. Malevolent Hermit is a counter spell that goes well with the draw discard theme and the mill theme. Why not hard counter magic? Well, this deck really prefers to have threats and be proactive. We're not just looking to sit back and do nothing and just try and answer what the opponent does and then eventually win with a massive game-ending punch. Like, there are definitely things our opponents can do that we might run out of answers for. This is not a deck of infinite answers. So in that sense, it's not sort of a pure control list. It has creatures, it puts forward threats, it's mid-range, but feels like control because you're just like killing and discarding and then playing big powerful threats, but you don't have all of the answers. Malevolent Hermit does really, really well into that. It only requires that you keep up 1 blue, and even if they kill it, then you get a 3-mana 2/2 flyer, which is a secondary threat against control, that also ensures your spells cannot be countered. The combination of discard plus uncounterability makes it very hard for control opponents to interact. At least that's the hope. And then we have Shadow Spear, a one-off. This is a flex, as is the Shadow's Verdict, as are these 2 extra Planeswalkers. These Planeswalkers are in here, again, for the control matchups where you want more threats, when you're bored out all your stupid fatal pushes and stuff, and Cruxes of Fate, you bring in these guys, who are answers plus threats in themselves. They ask questions, and then they also have answers to questions that your opponent might ask. They're too slow, I think, for the main deck. We already have a bunch of 5-mana Planeswalkers, and you're not main decking a 7-mana Planeswalker, realistically, unless you have a way to cheat it into play. Shadow's Verdict, Anger of the Gods, 3 extra rats that do different things. Anger of the Gods is very good, but there will be decks that do not have all their creatures die to anger. So there, either you manage the big ones and then anger the little guys. Winota, for example, is a notorious for coming down on turn 4 and just negating Anger of the Gods completely. Winota fighting a Tovolor's Huntmaster is like, there's 2 free win decks that you will see a lot in Explorer, and that is turn 4 Winota, find a Huntmaster, or turn 3 Greasefang, reanimate a Parhelion. Anger of the Gods does nothing in either of those situations. So I started with Anger in the main, actually, but as I kept iterating, I felt like this Graveyard Hate would actually end up being more valuable in a lot of situations. And then also we have Shadow's Verdict. I was torn between this and Languish or Cry of the Carnarium. Ultimately went with Shadow's Verdict because this exiles everything already in the graveyard. So against things like Kitty Cat combo, right, Cauldron Familiar, or just dedicated sacrifice decks in general that have good ways to get around Anger of the Gods, this singleton copy of Shadow's Verdict, when you find it, it will destroy them. It only gets rid of things that are 3 or less, and it is a 5-drop, so I don't think I can justify having more of this over something like, say, a Crux of Fate, but I'm still always happy to at least have access to one of these. A couple of Vanguard's Rampage, never leave home without Edicts. Edicts are your friend, and this is one of the best Edicts out there. It's sometimes just a 2-drop removal spell, which is really decent. And then Shadow Spear, the flex slot I was talking about. Hexproof and Indestructible are 2 of the ways that this deck can really get messed up. Rampage helps with that, and so does Shadow Spear. Shadow's Verdict, I suppose, a little bit as well. Dispersal as well. So we have cobbled together quite a few ways of getting on Hexproof and Indestructible, but this gets rid of Hexproof and Indestructible, plus gives our creatures lifelink. So you'll notice that there's a lot of different cards that come together to do like a bunch of things. We have Graveyard Trespasser to gain life, Sorin the Mirthless to gain life, Shadow Spear to gain life. We have Baleful Mastery, Dispersal, Ashiok, Anger of the Gods, Shadow's Verdict, Anger of its Rampage, and Shadow Spear to deal with things that are Hexproof or Indestructible. We've got Graveyard Trespassers for Graveyard Hate, and we've got Ashiok Dreamrenders also for Graveyard Hate. So it's sort of, you're mixing and matching a whole bunch of different cards together, but you're doing so in ways that make it so you still have consistency in terms of the different effects you have access to. I might be playing 2 Crest of Fate, 2 Anger of the Gods, 1 Shadow's Verdict, but it's 5 rats. Rats that do different things, but it's 5 rats. Similarly, I'm playing Ashiok, Nicol Bolaii, etc. They do slightly different things, but essentially they all give you card advantage. They all try and answer opposing threats. So you've got a lot of different cards in this deck that all come together to do similar things. Graveyard Trespasser, Proactive Threat, Nicholas. I'm gonna call him Nicholas sometimes. Nicholas and Graveyard Trespasser and Malevolent Hermit are all in the same boat. Malevolent Hermit is a counter magic as well, complements the discard. Crux as a threat, but also discard. All of these cards do multiple things, and that's the power of bringing them together. So decks like this really, really reward pilot skill. So if you see me doing really badly off of this, just recognize that it's because I've been a complete idiot and not because the deck is bad. With that, let's get ready to rumble. Best of 3 Ranked Explorer. The first best of 3 game I played, I had to mulligan to 6 in both games. It was not fun. And then I stumbled on mana in the 3rd game. Just Arena Shuffler was like just welcoming me to the format, but it's all right. We should be able to pull through whatever we find here. Our deck should have the tools, unless I have horribly and thoroughly and completely and utterly misjudged the speed and mana costs that this format operates at, in which case we're about to be very sad and find out. But you're gonna find out with me. Let's go. This hand is horrible. Snappy. We're against Yorion, so we're not expecting to get aggroed out, and we have Discovery to help us find exactly what we need. Surveil is quite the drug. We're going to lead with Hive of the Icon, which is the only tap line in our deck, and this way if we draw our Hall of Storm Giants. Alright, well that's a very good 2-drop to follow up with, so I'm wondering what we should do here. I think play Mountain, right? And then the fact that this is a black cantrip, by the way, is pretty nuts. Okay, we're not going to need this Fatal Push. And Tainted Indulgence has to be amazing in this slot, right? Because we can just discard one of these lands. What I tell you. Oh, alternatively, new plan. Let's go Watery Grave into Graveyard Trespasser. See what opponent has for this. If he has a counter spell, he better use it, because otherwise he's going to spend a card plus a removal spell. So if he can get a counter, yeah, Story Disruption. I mean, it feels bad to get Force Spike, but you know, it's fine. Takes away a land drop from him, although if he has a land heavy hand. Oh, are you going to Yorion?
I know 88
that is
a
a problem, because it shuts off our Tainted Indulgence. We don't currently have an answer for that. Okay, so now we'll go Fatal Passage, Attack Badge, fetch out a Swamp. Well, opponent's going to go ham on Planeswalkers, so that's quite something. That is very unfortunate. Thankfully, Narset is only a value. It doesn't really it doesn't really answer any cards, so it's just like a draw to. Okay, we got a Cryptic here, that's probably not going to matter. If he has untapped land into Wandering Emperor, that would be sad. Oh, he's just down this block. We already have so many cards in the yard. What do I do?
Thoughtfulness before action.
Drawing more cards off of the Narset. Do you have the land? Surely you should have gone Wandering Emperor, but it's okay. Oh my god. That was a draw. So, this turn, what we can do is we can go Kolaghan's Command the Narset. And then Tainted Indulgence to draw 2. That sounds insane, actually. We're going to do that. So we're going to deal 2 damage and return a creature to our hand. So we're going to get back to Nikki B, and we're going to get this Narset. Is that okay by you, Chief? Okay, that is okay. So he had nothing, so that means he has no permission for me to worry about. I'm going to keep up the tucking one. I might actually use that at some point. And then I'm going to draw 2 cards while I know he has no counter magic in hand. Right, I punted. It's okay. I punted because once I got back the command, my Tainted Indulgence, which is true too. Did it in the wrong order. That's okay. Haha, you think you can Thoughtseize away my Nikki B. We did draw a Baleful Moss too, which was pretty good, because it'll answer at least one of his Planeswalkers. He's probably planning to flash in Wandering Emperor here, which is fine by me. Actually, we're going to do this, because he's going to need to counterspell this. Yeah, okay, there we go. He's counterspelling that, because this is significantly less vulnerable to— oh no!
Trust me. We need to move quickly.
I was just gonna say that guy was gonna be less vulnerable to the Wandering Emperor, but it is what it is, I suppose. Well, I'm gonna. What do you got? What are you going to discard? Narset, Wandering Emperor, Silver card, Wandering Emperor. Okay. That must mean he has another answer, so I'm just gonna do this now. Because if he's gonna draw a card either way, I wanna avoid letting him untap. I don't even know if that's true. And this is really bad if he has another Teferi. But if he doesn't have another Teferi, he's going to draw a card either way. This way, I'm just making sure that he doesn't that he doesn't get access to the land on tap effect. Unfortunately, let's had a fatal push. Okay, unless he finds a removal spell for this Narset, I'm not actually hyper concerned because my Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Now I am concerned. Oh my. Fashionably late to the party as always. This game is over because he found that drown in the walk. Yeah, tend to the indulgence. He should kill this now. He's not killing it. What are you holding it for? You're gonna have an offset in the graveyard anyways, so I'd rather just take away your Wandering Emperor. If you're gonna kill it, you should have killed it before I got it to exile the thing, but it's okay, it's whatever. Alright, so he kills this now, and now because he has a Narset in play, my Tainted Indulgence cannot draw me 2 cards, which is quite unfortunate.
I have just the trick for this.
Narset is really upset. Okay, fine. Narset is a really upsetting card to play against when your threats are getting countered. So, against a Control Mirror, these cards are bad. Bone Crusher Giant is amazing here. So many Planeswalkers. Feels pretty bad not to have answers to them. Start bringing in the Malevolent Hermits. Don't have Duresses. I was torn between more discard and Malevolent Hermit, but I figured I already have discard. Crocs also helps, and Clogan's Commands, and Nicol Bolaii the Ravagers. Don't need more discard. Just protect me from the top of their deck and give me a threat. So here we are. Ashiok Nightmare Muse. Nicol Bolaii's God Pharaoh is honestly probably okay here. And then Angrath's Rampage, a copy, and then the God Pharaoh. Alright. Took out a bunch of removal. Like I didn't see any graveyard usage from them, not really. So I'm gonna go with this. Narset, why? Narset is an extremely annoying magic card. We possibly could have piloted that better around the possibility of him having a second Narset. Turn we played Nicol Bolaii's Dragon God, perhaps we had played the Ravager instead. Sorry. We live and we learn. There's no rush for us to cast this Thoughtseize. We can hold off until next turn. Like in Control Mirrors, a lot of the time you want to hold Thoughtseize until you can get more information, and like just getting off the stomp on turn 2 is not really of super high value either. So we're gonna fetch this, find ourselves a Black Source. Alright, we already have a red we need. Yeah, we're gonna get ourselves a Black Source, and then Thoughtseize here. Oh, you have not a great hand, which probably means you're gonna draw Narset into Teferi, but that's okay. He does not have a good answer to this Graveyard Trespass Rest right now in his hand. Wandering Emperor is kind of an answer. But he has to discard a card, and then I have Bone Crusher Giants to follow up. Okay. If we draw a land, we did not draw a land. Void Red. Okay. That's completely fine by me. I suppose this is a really nice new addition, huh? Yeah, this is a really nice new addition for Obscura/Esper decks. But hey, I will take my card advantage. I'll be very happy about it. So, gluttonously eat up 2 of these. patch turn. We are a little stuck on mana, but it is okay. This deck will do a perfectly fine job. Okay, he's got the manas he needs. We will attack. No, I'm not bothering to exile anything from my own graveyard. Wandering Emperor.
Finally, I'm home.
You're exiling. You have to discard something here. Put a land. Actually, so we're gonna let this resolve. And we don't have to kill the Wandering Emperor like right
This
away.
is what you get for hurting my people.
Because the most it can do is make a counter. I'd rather just get the Ravager and play when I know he doesn't have it. Okay, got the disruption out of him. And now, it doesn't matter if he pluses or minuses, Bone Crusher Giant will clean up. This card is so nice. The fact that it can clean up in situations like this and still leave behind a threat. Aw, you sure you don't want to put a counter on
Strike fast and
Nicol?
strike hard.
Are we buying the Yorion? We are buying the Yorion. Bones will be crushed, let me tell you. Hours. Then crush the Wandering Emperor's bones. Apologies, Kaito Shizuki. Do you have a counter spell? You do. Well, it's a good thing I have multiple things, isn't it?
Our swords will cross it.
Cool. Now he has nothing except a Yorion. Which is a 4/5, which is annoying because it blocks my 4/4. Takenuma? Your main facing Takenuma? We have triple black. We got this. Yeah, Nicol Bolaii Dragon God on a board where he's not being threatened is that was fun. That was fast and resource intensive. It was aggressive. Felt good, huh? That's right. Ashiok Dreamrender would not have done nearly as much as the Trespassers and the Bone Crusher Giants, and even the Malevolent Hermits. I think the setup is fine. Potentially more Planeswalker removal. Like, I'm considering cutting down on Available Mastery and going up an Angroth's Rampage. Overall, I don't think it matters terribly much. Rampage is cheaper, but Mastery also deals with manlands. We'll keep the Mastery. We'll keep it as it is. I didn't really see any artifacts out of them, and I would rather be able to point and click to the particular Planeswalker that I'm worried about. Alright. 1/1, lost one. Control Mirror, always fun, I suppose. Although playing Control Mirrors with this deck is actually, oh no, why like this, my friend? You go first. My opponent is letting me go first, okay. But he's also mulliganing, so it's a fair fight. That's fine. Keep 6. Do we get rid of this Ashiok or the Baleful? I think let's get rid of the Baleful. Unlikely to cast that this early stage of the game. Rather have the potential curve of Nikki B into Ashiok, and I can just discover this person. So we're gonna have to go Shipwreck March first, and then Steam them some tap so we can use the discovery. Could also play the wild one, to be honest. Might do that. Because it's very unlikely he's gonna counter Discovery, and this starts letting us apply pressure plus keep up counter magic. Oh, that's a very nice team answer. I like it. Okay, so we did draw a land, so let's go Discovery. Surveil both of those away, I think. I already have a 5 mana Planeswalker. I'm just looking for lands at this point. Okay, so we'll play out Watery Grave then instead, and then next turn we have enough to go Nikki B. And then if we draw a land in either of the next 2 turns, we can go after that. So he probably has a counter spell here, is my guess. It's okay if he does. I have a way to buy it back. So we already have double blue, double black. We're not likely to need a double red. So let's just grab another black and then do it. Alright, Joy Disruption. Are you gonna get me again with that? No, Okay. I mean, at least that's a real card. So to speak. Okay, he has Wandering Emperor now. I wonder. Player on Droid Disruption? Or Soren the Mirthless gets really hurt badly by Wandering Emperor. Still, let's play out the Ashiok first then. Both because it protects against Wandering Emperor. This doesn't play around Droid Disruption as well, but if we had Droid Disruption, so this feels like a Wandering Emperor to me. And then we will plus make a 2-3. Wandering Emperor can make a 3-3 that will try to attack our Ashiok, but our Ashiok can just keep making chump blockers for the rest of eternity. So that should be okay.
Delightfully friendly.
And then we can call against command down the Wandering Emperor after she makes the sunrise. So,
I am the Emperor Sanjon.
and the next turn, if
May
we
your blade strike true.
feel like it, we can also just bounce
Remember
Wandering
your
Emperor,
training.
which is not as good because it has. Oh my god.
If you show remorse,
Okay,
let's
well, he's
skip
not
to the
getting rid of
good
my
part.
Ashiok, so that's good. Neither of his guys are in Kolagon's command range, unfortunately. Nothing has vigilance as well, so we can't attack through it. Oh, we got a Yell though. Well, those are some very good exiles. I'm pretty happy about that. What now, though? That's not it, Chief. Teferi can tug this anytime he wants to. So he's not exactly threatening right now. Let's put back first. Let's see if our spell is going to resolve, because if a Kolagon's command cannot kill either, that is unfortunate. So let's try to see if we can resolve for Soren the Mirthless.
I bring order to this broken world.
So if we can resolve that, now the question is, do we want to make 2 blockers? Teferi can take care of that. Wandering Emperor. Draw a card, make a nightmare. Okay, we'll do this. I know this leaves both of his walkers in play, but it gets rid of his creature and also forces an exile from his hand. So this way my planeswalkers are under no threat. So if he wants to play the planeswalker game, hey, I'm down. I'll have planeswalkers in play, you'll have planeswalkers in play. We'll both have planeswalkers in play. How's that? What do we get? We got a Hallowed Fountain. Okay. Now with Soren, I think let us make a vampire. Now have a creature that we can start threatening his walkers with. Because
You
if he
fight
mines the
for
Teferi
me
on either
now.
of our planeswalkers, then our vampire in combination with Kolagon's command can definitely take down one of these planeswalkers, and then our command can get back on Nikki B, which would be very, very good. It looks like we have, at least for the moment, run him out of counter magic. He's probably going to draw more because he only used a single planeswalker. Yep,
Let
Wandering
your
Emperor
blade
makes a
do the
2/2.
talking.
But it is just a 2/2 though. Teferi, are you going to tuck any of my stuff? Or are you just going to keep letting me get value of my walkers? Okay. You are going to tuck my Ashiok. Sure. My 2/3 can still kill Teferi though, so that's quite something. Drawing the same Kolagon's command is absolutely incredible there, to be honest. Let's draw cards. Hopefully it's a land. It's not awful, actually.
Blood for knowledge. A fair trade.
Let's attack Tef. See if he has an answer. If he doesn't, we just kill this Teferi for free. That's
This is
incredible.
hardly my worst.
next, I think we can play out this Malevolent Hermit. He's going to absorb it. So we should take this opportunity to... Because the Samurai cannot kill my Sorin, so I think let's... Is it more valuable for me to get back my Nikki B? I don't think so. So I think I would rather make him discard it. My hand is full of threats, and then deal 2 to this. So now I have an active Planeswalker. He's down a card, and I'm drawing another Planeswalker next turn I can play anyway. If I didn't know for a fact that I had a threat, then I would have gotten back my
training.
But as it is, this is fine.
For this?
You can draw. You can gain your life. This doesn't matter. You don't have any man lands either, and you're also stuck on 5 lands. Yeah, when you have to use your Planeswalkers to answer opposing Planeswalkers, then it gets rough. Planeswalkers versus Planeswalkers. It just comes out to Navig.
Trust
Thanks,
me.
buddy.
Hurry.
Good job. Yay, look at him. Hopefully that's not a counter magic. Wait, hopefully that's not a counter spell. That's not a counter magic.
out
What
of
the
my
fuck did I just say? Okay, first things first. Let's draw off Sorin. Hopefully it's a land. I really want a land here. It's not a land. I will draw it though. The reason I was hoping for a land is because then I could have gone Malevolent Hermit into Polygon's command.
Dire tactics.
As it is. Let's cast Reload. See if we can maybe find an answer for Teferi. We didn't, but we drew a bunch of lands. Okay. That's fine. So now we will... pass the turn. Now, my consideration, like, there's no point in attacking Teferi. I would much rather defend my Sorin. But now the question is, do I keep up Command, or do I Malevolent Hermit to guarantee that I can get a Planeswalker down next turn? I think I'm going to risk tapping out. Because this way, even if he kills one of my creatures, at the worst case scenario, I can use the Benevolent Guys to block against the 2-2. Oh, yeah, if he's just gonna scry, that's fine. This plays much better against opposing counter magic. He needs to find, I don't know. He doesn't even have Yorion, so he can't just play a Skynuel. Skynuel wouldn't even be good enough necessarily here. I'm gonna draw an extra card. Yep.
Oh,
I'm drawing cards. It's only fair you should get to draw cards too. Both players are now going ham on resources. Thoughtseize. My hand is stacked. Take it. Right, you're gonna take my Ashiok. Sure. Thoughtseize again. Take it. Are you gonna buy Yorion? Do you have another Thoughtseize? What's going down, Chief? He will buy the Yorion. Okay. Can't really attack into this. Choices. First things first, draw my card. Yeah, man. Drawing cards every turn is really good. Oh, well. That makes life pretty
Blood
easy.
for knowledge. A fair
He
trade.
can't counter my cards, so what do I do with that information? Cannot play counter spells. What's the best thing I can do here? So let's attack, test. Attack, test. Damage.
Time for plan B.
2 damage.
As soon as I
and
think of
get
one.
back my Nikki B. So get back Nikki B, and then 2 damage there. Okay.
Balance may
That's
never be
completely fine.
restored now.
And now I'm
Really
in an
should have seen that
extremely
coming.
commanding position because now he has no cards, he has to top deck, he has no play. Okay, I think we did it, boys. We navigated the control mirror maze. Next turn, not only do I get to attack, but then I also get to transform Nicol Bolaii the Ravager with Nicol Bolaii Dragon God in hand. Oh my god, Soren did so much work. Planeswalkers that draw cards. Also, Soren is a really nice hack against Narset, Parter of Veils, because Narset stops you from drawing cards. Soren doesn't technically draw cards, he finds them and then just puts them in your hand lovingly. So, Dragons, Gods, and Titans coming out on top in the first round of the day. Whew, the first game was a bit of a nerve-wracker, but pull sideboard when all the dead removal's gone. I think our matchup did feel very good there. All of our threats are very hard for him to answer. I don't just mean the Planeswalkers. Obviously, Planeswalkers are difficult to answer, but it's just so many 2-for-1s. Like, Bonecrusher Giant can clean up a Planeswalker and then be a threat. Graveyard Trespasser needs you to discard a card to kill it. And then we even have Thoughtseize to start off with the Disruptor. It's just all of our threats generate value and have answers stated into them. That combined with Disruption and Countermeasure, it's tough. Okay, well, what is this? Why? Opponent's on Kahita. Okay. Well, I'll keep 6. Either put back a land or Croxa. I think put back the Clearwater Pathway should be okay. Probably don't need this double blue. We can just lead off with Xander's Lounge, and then next turn, depending on what the opponent does, we can either Croxa or Fatal Push. So now that they've done that, Croxa, get them to discard a card. No Obstinate Bailiff or Loxodon Smiter in this format. Oh, they're a Coco deck. That is upsetting. I do not like it. Hypnotic Indulgence, where have you been? I would have loved to know that I was going to draw you, then I wouldn't have played the Croxa, would I now? It's alright, it's alright. Still a cantrip, still a cantrip. Worst case scenario just fills up the yard for Croxa, but if we can like draw a second Croxa. Oh, you have nothing. What does that mean for me? It means I'm indulgencing to hopefully draw a land. A land was drawn. Thoughtseize probably won't do much because my opponent has a stack in hand. Although there is some consideration for just getting rid of his Steam Vents. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get rid of Steam Vents and essentially hope to draw land. I'm not worried about the land. Let's see what opponent's working with. And we can kill. Oh my god! That's what opponent is dealing with, huh? Okay, Elemental. I mean, we've got Fatal Pushes for the cheap guys, and he's a couple mana off of on that. And this isn't drawing cards anytime soon. It just like might kill a thing. Okay, let's just get rid of the Risen Reef. That's his comeback mechanism into the game, right? So then eat the Risen Reef, and then next turn we're probably not gonna kill this Buffalo until truth be told. Probably gonna deal with the Screaming Trailblazer instead, but he just gets up because he has a draw land. We're getting closer. Okay. It's elemental value, huh? And this feels like a matchup where Baleful Mastery. Like, it has so many ETB effects. Baleful Mastery feels bad. We're gonna take out these guys though for sure. I don't know about how I feel about the Croxes just yet. I definitely want the Shadow's Verdict and the Anger of the Gods. Do they do library searching? No, Coco. No, Coco doesn't search, right? Coco is just look at the top, you may reveal. Yeah, so look at the top, you may reveal from among them to the battlefield. So search, this won't stop Coco. Unfortunately, this is not a Grafdigger's Cage. That is the one situation in which Grafdigger's Cage actually comes in handy when people, like more handy than Ashiok Dreamrender, people are trying to put cards in from the graveyard. It might be worth, for that reason alone, to have only one copy of Ashiok Dreamrender and then add a Grafdigger's Cage. Might look into that. But what are we doing for now? Are we going Bloodchief's Thirst based on what we saw? Risen Reef is value. Risen Reef is a very annoying card. You have Bone Crushers and Kolaghan's Commands and Angers though. Yeah, you know, we saw a lot of 2-drops. I think I'm happy with this. So if we're happy with this, what are we cutting? We're cutting Nikki B, Dragon God, and probably these Baleful Masteries, because spot removal is very bad against like expensive spot removal against Risen Reef deck sounds egregiously bad. And we're not really going to be run everywhere. They're not hyper aggro deck. They just create an unstoppable board state. Okay, well, I mean, double Thoughtseize Fatal Push. Can't really complain about that hand. Wish we had a blue for the Tainted Indulgence, but I'm sure we'll find one eventually. Famous last words, because he's never going to. Well, with the fact that we drew Discovery there makes that much likelier. What do you do? Literally nothing. Take the Risen Reef just like last time. He's welcome to play out whatever land he wants. Control and Harbor. Oh, okay. Sure, so now, oh, that's actually very good. So now I can do this, and because now my Haunted Region isn't tapped anymore. So we can Thoughtseize again, because I don't much care about it. We can draw anything relevant. So now it's a question of which one we take more damage from. And we definitely take more damage from Brush Rail now. So we'll get rid of that. Kahida can probably be taken damage. What? Well, if we draw Anger of the Gods, it's certainly like not that. That is not an Anger of the Gods, but it is still okay. Haunted Reach. And I would rather cast a Discovery than don't care about this lead. I already have one, and they're extremely unlikely to have removal. Alright, and turn. He's probably gonna go Trailblazer land. No, that wouldn't keep in Softies against an aggro deck. But this isn't just any old aggro deck, right? This is... and we go Thoughtseize. Thankfully we have these Tainted Dogs to get rid of it all. We're going down to 2 here. If he draws a land, that would be really bad. Then we're just dead. Oh no! Now we're just dead! That was so cheesy. Just drawing 2 Brush Rail Elementals in a row. Still think we're favored in the matchup though. I'm not going to change anything about my sideboarding, I don't think. Any sense in getting Trespassers back to block? Maybe some sense in going down Cruxus, if this is the way it's going to be. Sure, I can see that. Out goes the Cruxus, in comes the Trespassers to hopefully gain some life. Double Brush Rail Elemental. And he even had the land for the kill this turn. If he doesn't kill me this turn, then the board is empty, but my board is empty, but I have double Tainted Indulgence to draw my way into whatever I need. This is still fine. It's a little slow, but it's okay. We can still go Thoughtseize into Xander's Lounge, and the fact that he's mulliganing makes me very happy to have these Thoughtseizes. Yeah, look man, turns out Thoughtseize is still good. So take 2 life, Thoughtseize, take 2 more. Not great against this very aggressive deck, but you know, I'm okay with it. We will take the Risen Reef this turn, and then the Omnath next turn. Because he can't play the Florahedron, right? So he has to take his next turn off to play Florahedron, and then that turn we can Bone Crusher. I was gonna say we can Bone Crusher, but now I see that we can also Fatal Push. Thoughtseize again. If he hasn't drawn anything good, we'll, yeah, that's fine. Ignore that. We can just kill that. Trailblazer. I'm gonna go Florahedron. This digs deeper slightly, so I'm gonna go with this instead. I don't like putting a command in the yard, but I really do pretty desperately just want to draw lands. I feel like as long as I just draw lands for the next couple of turns, I'll have a very hard time losing. At least that's the hope. He's just gonna get Kahira in hand, sure. Okay. Cast Indulgence. Okay. Discard a card. Second Indulgence is probably my best discard here. Wish we'd drawn an untapped land, but it's okay. Next turn, if we draw an untapped land and he goes Kahira into another creature, we can Crux of Fate away his board, and that would make us very happy, wouldn't it? Even if he doesn't, we have removal for everything he can do. If we draw an untapped land, it's Crux of Fate though. Okay, didn't draw an untapped land, that's fine. Let's just Bone Crush Kahira. And then pass turn. If he has a Brush Trail Elemental, I would want to kill that instead. If he doesn't, then I will happily kill this Trailblazer. Start getting worried about my life total. Doesn't look like there's a Brush Trail Elemental, but we really don't care about that. I'll just kill Trailblazer instead. You can play your 1/1. We'll play out a Nicol Bolas. We could also have gone Bone Crusher Giant Fatal Push, but I would rather just have. Looks like he's just stuck on lands though. If he had anything better to play that is not a land, I'm sure he would have played it. Just lower Hedrons for days. Okay. That does not make me feel like I need to do much. So we're going to play a Sarn again. Maximum use of mana. Play a Life and
Consider yourself fortunate.
He wants to send both his Floor Hedrons at my
bring
Sarn,
my
that's fine.
bow.
If he draws the Creeping Trailblazer and makes his Floor Hedrons bigger, that's fine by me too. Okay, now he's just very, very, very dead. We might not draw a card here actually, but if it's a land, which it is, then we would be very happy to have done this. So
My
now we
wings
can
are
go.
not for
Instead of going Mickey D Dragon God, we're going to go this because this keeps better board presence. And then, what could he draw? Hydroid Crisis, but we can just Fatal Push that. Nissa, who wakes the world, but we have a Fatal Push for that. We're gonna attack with everything, it's not gonna make a difference. My turn. Still had all these. I do feel like we are favored. We got a little cheesed last turn. Make a Vampire. We don't draw cards. I'm just showing off at this stage. He's not dead,
throughout the multiverse.
We'll draw a card now. Well, now he is dead, unless he can gain life somehow. He's getting rid of one before he...
My schemes
What's he
are
hoping to draw
never
to get him out of
ending.
this? I'm not sure. Oh well. I hope we don't have to find out. Oh, he can go Genesis Ultimatum, you know? That might turn the tide. If he goes Genesis Ultimatum Ugin, but it's just Ugin. That's not good. Alright. That is something that is a little scary about decks like these. Yeah, they get to a certain amount of mana, and then it's like, no matter what you do, they can always just get you. Genesis Ultimatum. I have 7 mana. I'll play my card and win the game. But they might also rip off of that. And we had a very commanding board presence. So I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. Let's see if we can't do another one of these. This is fun. We are doing quite well. I think our sideboarding strategies so far have been decent, and there have not been any obviously egregious, horrifyingly bad punts. So that's good. It's a beautiful day. Breathe in nature. And kill them with dragons. This is what I choose to do with life. Kill people with dragons and undead titans and beautiful things. Okay. Opponent has taken a mulligan already. I will keep. This hand is medium, but it has a Bone Crusher Giant and 3 lands. So, who's complaining? Me? Hell nah, dude. I'm unsure what I want to get with my favorite passive. It will depend. Not playing this Croc, so. Trying to. So I do not mind getting a blue source here. I mean, it looks like we're just a Rakdos hand going by the cards we currently have in the deck, but it's okay. Close that. Even Vocal Roller, sure. And roll hurt. Yeah, no. Oh god, that's so bad. Oh no, I completely didn't realize this is a haunted ridge. This is the first obvious punt I made. I didn't realize that was a haunted ridge. We're going to take a lot more. We've taken 2 more damage than we needed to now. It's going to be 6 more damage. Can't win this game. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, wow, wow. If we had not done that, we had a pretty good shot. Get a blue, he said. It'll be okay, he said. We would have killed one of their creatures. Probably the Pelt Collector. And then we could have played the Bone Crusher Giant and have it a blocker. It's okay. We live and we learn. So, Thoughtseizes are awful in this matchup. Anger of the Gods, Shadow's Verdict, Double Bloodchief's Thirst, Angrat's Rampage. He doesn't have any clear tokens, stuff like that. Graveyard Trespasser has to be okay, I would imagine. This is not the matchup for Sorin the Mirthless, it does not feel like. Definitely can cut at least 1 Dragon God. Don't want to cut all of them, I don't think. We do want to keep some amount of top end. Not sure how I feel about this Croxa. Some amount of them probably have to go though. And cutting any of these cards is probably better than cutting out removal. I feel like this game, this particular kind of game, you just want to get your hands on all the removal you possibly can. And then Trespasser is a fine enough roadblock on its own. Shadow's Verdicts make Croxa very awkward. So I think we will cut the Croxa. And then if we're cutting Croxa, we can either get back Sorin or even Ashiok potentially. This gains life, but this makes Chump Walkers. This is 4 mana, but this is 5 mana. I'm gonna go with the 4 mana card, I think. Over, say, Shadow Spear. Yeah, they're very aggressive. I don't think we're gonna have time to, like, get life-linking hits in with Shadow Spear. At that point, I would rather have just a Planeswalker that can make life-linking bodies. And the reason I said it's not the matchup for Sorin, because he just makes like 2/3s, which is not great. Because you're not really looking to pay life to draw cards here. Look at me, I'm collecting pelts. I'm so smart. Bruh. Check my one. Skin build? Is that what you have? Nope. Slow hand? Is that what you have? That's not good. My Bone Crush is better than your Bone. I wonder. No point racing. I will offer this trade. So let's just hold up Baleful Mastery and Tainted Indulgence. If he offers the trade, I'm just taking it. Because I got the clean 2-for-1. He's not offering the trade. In that case, I will cast Tainted Indulgence end of turn. Oh my. Discovery is my worst card now for sure. Bouncing a Bone Crusher Giant doesn't feel like that'll be the play. Let's make you sacrifice a creature. And if he does anything that is urgently awful, that we absolutely must deal with right away, or we're just gonna die, then we have a Baleful Mastery. Sure. Not a thing that comes. He's probably going to offer the trade for one of them. Yeah, still fine by me. And then I'll just pass the turn. Hope to get him here with either Crux of Fate or Anger of the Gods. questing beast. Okay, good game. Because yes, this is all very nice and dandy. Scushy! Well, I take 7, 4 of which could have been avoided. Crux of Fate. Wrath away the board, have 2 spot removals left in hand. We'll take Brawler, this is just fine. We even have a removal spell for Den of the Bugbear. We are going to Blood Chase away the Brawler, and then we'll probably fire up the Den of the Bugbear, at which point our Baleful Mastery will come in. Alright, kill everything that breeds plan is online. How do you feel about this? Take 4. Because, yes, I could have mastered that, but then I don't have an answer for the Den of the Bugbear. So, let's draw 2. Rampage away the questing beast. This is now unfortunate because we didn't draw land. I thought if we had drawn land we could have just built mastery. Yeah, because now he's gonna have a 3-2 attacking. Take 1. Okay. It's not great. But we can still anger away the board. Everything is lethal now. We really need to find a Graveyard Trespasser. Wait, couldn't he have just killed me? Yeah. Wow. Can't believe I'm about to lose this game. It started so well. I think I should have just protected my life total and not got hit by a questing beast. That was definitely a mistake. This game was very winnable. Hey, you reckon opponent's gonna figure out that he can activate Realm of Runes and I'll die? Yeah, let's hope he doesn't figure that one out. That would be unfortunate. We have Baleful Mastery up. Pass to attackers. 5. Oh no, I saw opponent pointing to his lands. I think he figured it out, boys. This was something like a cling to dust opponents I did. Still giving us a chance to stay alive, huh? Ember Cleave. Still can Baleful Mastery that away then. We need to gain life, boys. We need to gain life really fast. If opponent doesn't realize that he can kill me with Realm of Ruins, I mean, that's the reason we're gonna stay in this game. This is awkward, right? I really want to find ways to put more life gain in this deck, but the only life gain I could find was like... let's see, they figured it out. They cracked the code, boys! They figured out they had me dead. This is why I wanted something like Gifted Aetherborn, just so I could gain some life. And I think I'm actually going to redo my sideboard to include the Gifted Aetherborn. It feels so bad to just get so close and then just not be able to finish them off because they just cheese their way into life. Like, look. What are the good cards? You tell me. Expensive-wise, Scavenge is not always reliable. Murderous Rider is very clunky. It's good, but it's clunky. It should cost like 1 mana less. And this is just not what this deck wants to do. So what am I doing? Am I playing Eradicator Valkyrie? Surely not. Gifted Aetherborn it is. So if we're putting in a bunch of these to deal with aggro, that means we can get rid of some cards that we have that currently help us deal with aggro. No need for as many rats. I don't think I meant to cut both rats, so cut just 1 is fine. Yeah, so we have 2 more rats on the side, and then probably get rid of the Shadow Spear if we're gonna have Gifted Aetherborn gaining us life, and then still need 1 more cut. We could actually, what we can do is Dream Render and Aetherborn, and then instead play Cling to Dust. This gains life. It's not the most powerful card, but it's still okay. So this is just a few tune-ups, just so that we can try and gain a little bit more life. Alright. try that one more time. Because I feel like our aggro matchup is good. And I feel like this game, if I had gotten rid of the questing beasts, if I had just gotten rid of the questing beasts with Baleful Mastery and trusted my deck to draw me more answers to the Den of the Bugbear, it would have been better. Also, the fact that those angers were essentially dead cards was not great. It's alright. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. We live and we learn, right? Don't prioritize having cards in hand over just killing your opponent's stuff, huh? Also, the turn that we killed the questing beast with the rampage, I think it was a mistake to then also go Tainted Indulgence. That was a little greedy. I thought, hey, we have Tainted Indulgence, surely we'll draw a land, but I didn't stop to consider what happened if we didn't draw a land. This deck is really good at playing on 5 mana, so we already have those 5 lands. This is not as good at going to 6 and playing at 6 mana. It's alright though. We live and we learn. So that turn, say I don't go Tainted Indulgence, I instead go Angrots, just rampage away that, and then kill the Den of the Bugbear. Then I'm at 1 life, right? I'm not at 1 life for the rest of the game, I'm at 5 life. His creatures can't really accomplish anything, right? And I can Kolaghan's Command back my Bone Crusher Giants. Yeah, that would definitely be better. I just need to make sure I could stay alive. Also, what is happening here? Where is this opponent in hiding? He's taking 5 billion years. Waiting for an opponent. Fellas. Opponent, where? Arena, are you messing with me? I feel like Arena's messing with me. Give us a moment. Let's just do a brief restart before it kicks us out. It'd be very unfortunate if we got kicked out in the middle of the queue. It looks like we were put in queue. We were. They did put us in queue. Okay. Opponents, we are on the play. I don't know if we were originally on the play or what have you. Okay, we're against the Cauldron Familiar deck. Thoughtseize that. Graveyard Trespass should be very good here. Ah. I see. I see. The double Witch's Oven is certainly unfortunate. As is the Oni Cult Anvil. And I don't think we can disrupt this combo. Like, we can take the Oni Cult Anvil, then we're living with Obnixilis Mayhem Devil. I think we are just prized taking the Obnixilis with the first one, and then Thoughtseize again with the second one. We have answers for the Mayhem Devil. Oni Cult Anvil can eventually be answered by Kolaghan's Command. There's no point in taking either of the two Witch's Ovens. So I think let's just take the Oni Cult Anvil because he doesn't have mana to play Mayhem Devil yet. Hopefully he does not draw the land. Okay, cool. So now he's just gonna kitty cat drain us out of the game. Oh, what the heck? He's going to try. So we're taking 3 a turn. It's not great. It's not the worst though. We'll eat the Ob. I highly doubt they have ways of getting that artifact from their graveyard. Yes. Do your drains. Stupid little drains. Sorin the Mirthless is actually very good. Very, very good here. Because he can make vampire tokens. He can make vampire tokens that can fly over the cat and keep getting the points of life back. If he has land for the Mayhem Devil though, this is going to be a problem. Although Mayhem Devil does a really good job of surviving against, Graveyard Trespasser, I mean to say. It does a very good job of staying alive against Mayhem Devil, because Devil cannot ping this thing. Okay, getting rid of a Deadly Dispute. No land for you. We're taking 2 a turn now. Okay, so now we have choices, but I think it's fairly obvious what we can do. Soaring the Mirthless, make a vampire, and don't attack, obviously, because there's no point in attacking with a groundskeeper against Kitty Cat. They can just go block with the cat, sack it to the Witch's Oven, etc., etc. So, Kitty Cat's definitely annoying, but it's certainly far from unbeatable. Okay, I get it. Jeez. I've got artifacts and sacrifice stuff. I don't know if I agree with this Voldaren epic here, though. Okay, well, now he has 4 damage. Are we dead? Oh no! Hey friend, are we dead? No point in keeping Soren around. We're not going to be drawing cards with him for ages.
You deal with this annoyance.
We will attempt to gain some life here. Mayhem Devil. So he can only sacrifice one other thing right now. So let's full cost Baleful Mastery away the Mayhem Devil. So this is interesting. Let's say I pay the student cost. No. I don't think we care about the Fate Indulgence as much. Just get rid of this, because he doesn't have stuff to sacrifice yet. And he's just used up a trigger. So he'd have to sacrifice this. Okay, he sacrifices this. Gets back 1, so he can deal 1. And then he gets back to Kitty Cat. Great. And then he doesn't have any sacrifice things left. However, he does now get stuff. Okay, so this kind of ends up working out, because yes, we'll be draining for 2 now, but at least the threat of just him Mayhem Deviling us out of the game is not. That's 5. Not great. Can't really attack though, because we have a life linker. This doesn't kill artifacts, is it not? It's not. Oh no! Double cat. But that doesn't actually speed up the clock, because he still just has 2 ovens. So they're taking 2 now and then 2 when we untap. That is suboptimal. Attack. See if we can't gain a little life at least. Okay. I suppose we're just gonna Nicky B. This is...
I am one again.
It's okay. It is what it is. Okay. We got the food, boys.
You have no
Worth it.
weakness I cannot exploit.
Get rid of this fabled passage here. Find us a swamp. I mean, I don't like our spot. I also don't hate it. There's a lot of things he could draw that would just kill us. Mayhem Devil on the list. If he just finds a Mayhem Devil, we just dead. Because the drain trigger alone will just kill us. If he does not find a Mayhem Devil, if he finds a third of it, I think we're still dead, because then he can just attack with everything and then just sacrifice. Oh, dead. Because no matter what he does, I'm taking 2 damage. Then dead. And there was no point in killing a thing with Nicol Bolaii Dragon God either. Alright. Well, this is the matchup for which we have the Shadow's Verdict, but it does make me feel like maybe we should have a couple more. Gifted Aetherborn is horrifyingly bad here. Because he can never attack to get the lifelink in. At least not against Witch's Oven, and then he gets mown down. So we'll take these. Angreth's Rampage is not great because, well, we can get him to sacrifice an artifact. A lot of the times that artifact will be a food token and not the Witch's Oven we actually want to hit. So I actually think this is the best we can do. Crux is actually okay into this matchup, but it's not the best. It's also not the worst. It's okay. The reason I said it's not the best is because, again, it gets blanked by Kitty Cat. A lot of cards here that get blanked by Kitty Cat. I should reconfigure the sideboard accordingly. Potentially get rid of these Gifted Aetherborns, add a pair of Cry of the Carnarium. It's alright though. We still should have to. So this card, obviously you can shave one in aggro matchups like we've been doing. Witch's Oven is really the big problem. Like, their engines, only called Anvil, Witch's Oven, make it so that just wiping their board isn't enough. You need to fly over them, destroy their artifacts. This matchup feels really bad because our board wipes don't do much against them, and we don't have neat ways of destroying all of their artifacts. I suppose you just have to go above them and kill them. Easier said than done. I think I am going to get rid of this Cruxa. Helping them discard cats doesn't sound great, so we'll do this. Hopefully this is okay. I am not feeling terribly confident. It'll be alright though, I think. But of course my opponent could also go 1-drop, 2-drop Ob Nixilis, and then we will cry. Yeah, deck is very good, for sure. Ob Nixilis adds another dimension of attack to this deck that it just didn't have previously. The fact that you've got a Planeswalker that can just come down, fit in right in with the Sacrifice theme, and also the aggressive Drain theme. It's very, very good. Definitely one of the places where Ob Nixilis feels the most comfortable. Also, arguably should have led with Steam Vent first. Let's push that. Because I want to Discovery next turn anyways. So now let's play out Swamp, Discovery. Don't care about that. Do like the Cologon's Command a lot. Alright, what do you got? What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? Spam for Synthesizer. Sure. Okay. You drew a card. Not the greatest thing in the world for me, but also not the worst. I don't think I care terribly much about dealing with the Synthesizer, so I'm just gonna play this land, play through life, and pass. Because I want to hold up Bone Crusher / Kolaghan's Command. Yep. I think I want to save Kolaghan's Command because it should be fairly valuable in this matchup. If we want to play the Nikki B, we are going to have to pay life again, and I don't think I particularly care about having him discard. Because he's got a bunch of cards in hand, and some of those cards might just be good cards to discard. So, we drew a Shipwreck Marsh. Does that change our plans? I think yeah. The fact that I don't have to pay the 2 life makes me more inclined to play out something that's more on curve. Alright, we just got a land from him. And I guess it's card advantage of a sort. Nicol Bolas, done so much, been through so much. Can't deal with an artifact. A Witch's Oven? Too much, as you said. Deadly Disputing, but not on the Synthesizer. Very interesting. Witch's Oven, but nothing to sacrifice. Also interesting. It doesn't look like he has anything great to discard, so let's just go ahead. Hit him. Damage. Okay, interesting. Play the tap thing, and then command now. Destroy artifact and make it discard. So target a player, you discard, and I'll get rid of your Witch's Oven. If he has a Deadly Dispute, then I suppose that works out a little bit for him, but he does not have the deadly dispute. So that's good for us. He's cracking synthesizer. Man, my opponent's draw has just not come together. Okay, he found the fatal push with an APB. Now I'm a little sad that I didn't pull the command, but not like too sad. Because I can still do some work here. What we can do is discovery into Takenuma. Get back to the Bolas. If we find nothing better to do with our life. But if discovery does give us something better to do with our life, then of course we'll do that. No, well, I'm glad I did that now. Still drawing another land. Honestly, let's make him think we have something. Yeah, let's make him think we have something. And then just channel Takenuma. Because he's going to be wondering why we did not play this Bone Crusher Giant. Sure. We'll channel Takenuma. Now, 3 more left. Okay. Alright, feller. If we draw an untapped land next turn, we can go Nikki B into Bone Crusher, which would be very good. That's also not bad. Let's Ravage. Because now we can hold on to their full mana too. Sure. No, I don't think I want to let him draw another discard outlet. Because now, in this way, next turn if I draw land, I will get to flip my Nicol Bolaii Theory with the Ravager. Does he have another Fatal Push? He does not. Okay. I mean, sorry, even if I don't draw another land, that's what I meant to say, but I said if I draw another land. Like, even if I don't draw another land, I can still transfer. Double Onikolte. Just get the chain started with the treasure. Alright, man, more drain. Drain for days. Like, back in the day, it was just Witch's Oven and Kitty Cat. Now it's Onikolte Anvil, along with Witch's Oven and the food. We know Witch's Oven makes food, which is food. This deck has just become so nice and synergistic. It's wonderful. Not particularly great for us at the moment, but what have you? What can you do? Is there anything good in a graveyard for us to put? Literally nothing. So it's not even that good right now to flip this because we're just losing on board massively. We'll take so much damage if we do this. Yeah, okay, so let's fly over. But I mean, what else am I doing? Am I thought seizing? I don't think I'm thought seizing. Find ways out of this. Alright, I'll take some damage here. You know what we could do? We could add a Root of Massacre to this deck, which again feels strange because it's a little slow paced for what Explorer does in this format. But nonsense like this, Meathook Massacre is very, very good against. I should probably consider putting in Cry of the Carnarium and Meathook Massacre into my deck, at least in the sideboard, just given how amazing those cards are against this deck. How's he not found a cat yet? I just have bad cards. Sorry, mate. Didn't have any good cards to get out of my sideboard. Yeah, we definitely learned something about the kitty cat magic. Oh my god. None of the cards in my hand do anything, so this is fine.
Oh, I have
Happily
a job.
discard Thoughtseize. You got it, Chief.
Pleasure doing business with you.
Pleasure doing business with you. You can kill a Planeswalker. That's not what we need right now. We need to make sure the op triggers
Always have an answer.
That's a decent sequence. Because now we can go Sorin. Vampire, gain some life.
I am vengeance, bloody and righteous.
And then Bone Crusher
You
hand.
fight for me now.
The other option is Crux of Fate. So I'm losing 2 life for sure. If he attacks with everything, then I block 2 places. Block the Samurai. He might not attack with the Samurai. So I don't think he can kill me. Even if he all-out attacks me with the Hive, I'll just take the hit from the Hive. Discard. Easy
Go
discard.
ahead. Plead for mercy.
You got it, Chief.
Defy
Push
me,
is horrifying.
and you'll lose everything.
Which is oven, sure. Hive can still attack. If he's just sacrificing this now, then that makes me not planning to attack with everything. How much is this to ulti? Minus 12. Okay. He is attacking. Probably attacking me still, right? Just going for the Sorin. I don't have anything relevant in my yard for you to exile, my friend. What a random card. Okay. I'm happy double blocking there. Planning to blow up the world next turn anyways. Okay. Still don't have anything great here. Draw 2 to keep negating the Ob Nixilis nonsense, right? So literally no point in attacking, so let's Crux of Fate away the world. He should probably drain me for 2 at the Onicult Anvils. Yep, drain for 2. And then king for 1. So we're gonna go after the Sorin, so I can't make a vampire.
Get out of my
It's okay.
way!
Wasn't planning to make a vampire anyways. We will draw 2.
My knowledge is endless.
Take 2. No, because I'm taking 2 from Ob Nixilis anyway. He's gonna make me discard it. So there's no point.
You wish to know my secrets? Very well.
I think preserving my life total at this moment is more important. Also a chance to make the devil.
No
did you draw another
beats
Ob?
me. Shake down the locals. Your punishment is my entertainment.
Just this one time? I think I decline. Okay, he's got 2 guys. Drain for 2. Yes.
I'm the new boss around here. Join
What
me.
does command do?
Pleasure doing business with you.
What does Nikki B do here? This Nikki B doesn't do much, right? Yes, with, even with all these planeswalkers, does not do much. Discard this. And then we want to
Defy me, and you lose everything.
He's very likely to die next turn anyways. Not dead on board. Taking a significant chunk though. Decline. Draw 2. Whew. Exile his whole thing, his whole shebang.
What's one more grudge? You deal with this annoyance.
We can get back a Sorin and make another vampire. First we have to survive though, so command and orb. And get rid of one of the anvils. So get rid of the, doesn't matter which because this can sacrifice itself. The anvil, kill one of the orbs. I feel like there's a lot of cards in this deck that will just kill us here. You need to have
My
two cards in this
revenge
card now.
will be
so
cruel and painful.
exile all but the bottom card. Target player's library.
I'm through with this world.
That's most of his deck gone. If we can survive one more turn. I think not drawing the Indulgence was a mistake there. Oh my god. If we had been able to... Man's not gonna do it. Are we in it? We're not dead on board. Actually, no, never mind, we are. Let's hope the opponent doesn't figure it out, huh? Discard this.
Your punishment is my entertainment.
We are dead on board, actually. I didn't realize
Go
because
ahead.
he has Witches of Infinite.
Plead for mercy.
I'm dead. No, he figured it out. He cracked the code. Gosh darn it. We were so close to. Well, that will inspire me to make a couple of changes here. And also, I think I did miss my play first in that one match over there, which is exceedingly unfortunate. Yeah, that is quite sad. So what did we agree? We agreed to a Meat Hook Massacre because there is a very prominent deck in the format that really does not care about these stupid Etherborns. So Meat Hook Massacre, is Cling to Dust any good? I mean, instant speed gain life, right? Has to be. Should be okay. So Meat Hook Massacre and then potentially not just Anger, but Cry of the Carnarium, and we'll see how it compares to Anger. Cry, I suspect, will be much worse in some places, but specifically against the Kitty Cat matchup, the fact that it does definitively exile is pretty good. So we'll do one last. We'll do one last one. Hopefully, we can win this and end strong. Show off what Grixis is capable of doing. The fact that both Onicult Anvils and Witches Oven all represent drains is actually kind of yikes there. That's alright. We got it. We got this. I mean, this is just my first time taking this deck for a serious pilot spin. Before this, I've just played like isolated games, you know, a few numbers. So this is the first time I'm sort of like playing dedicated sets of best of threes. Let's see what we can do here. That is a really good avatar. Much cooler than mine. If we play Steam Vents tapped, I think we have untapped Tameless lands all the way through turn 4, which is very neat. I will say though, I have not really had mana consistency issues. Ever. That's just something that's really nice. Valky, God of Light. You're welcome to take Croxa, but then I'll stomp it back. So you're probably then considering taking... I'll just stomp it. You should have taken the Bone Crusher Giant, because I do not have actually a ready answer for that. So let's go with black. Then stomp this, because who knows what weirdness he's doing. Like maybe he has Deadly Disputes, Village Rights, whatever. Don't want him to fizzle my Bone Crusher Giant. Although, I mean, the reason not to do that is there's a chance he would have tried to like turn Valky into a Crocs and attack, at which point we would have got a bunch of free tempo value. Shakedown Heavy. I see how it is. Shaking down heavy. Obnix. Fight Rigging. Galba. Obnix is the only real threat. We'll do this, and the next turn, instead of Nicol Bolaii, we will actually Bone Crusher Giant, so we can trade with the Shakedown Heavy. Oh, but that doesn't even work, does it? Because... Menace. Yeah, this card's annoying, huh? The beginning of combat in your turn, put +1/+1 counter. That's a combo for sure. So, but like, I can't let him get Obnix on the board this early with that much loyalty. That's just big for disaster. Oh, he's got second Fight Rigging. Fight Rigging into Fight Rigging? Okay, well, at least he's not gonna get the trigger this turn itself. Well, we need to find a Baleful Magic or some such for that. Yikes. I would not like to draw a card. I will take my 7 to stop from drawing a card. Play a land. Didn't play a land. Let's do what you expect me to do, right? Nicol Bolas away. This land, yes. He did sandbag a land. Okay, Shakedown Heavy is gonna get 2 counters on him this turn, and then the turn after that. So this is not gonna go great. And then Shakedown Heavy. Sure, you can draw a card. I'm gonna need a Crux of Fate anyways to deal with it. Indulge me. That's not awful, so we can do this. But I mean, it's not good enough. We needed to draw Baleful Mastery for Galta, and we could just have him keep drawing cards off of the Shakedown Heavies, and I would not have minded. As it is, Galta Trample. Opponent's deck is very sweet, and I'm pretty happy that it got to pop off and do its thing and show off what it can do. Let's see how we hold up now. Bunch of Shakedown Heavies, huh? Is not great against Obnixilis, but should be okay otherwise, based on what we saw. Croxa should give him trouble as well, based on what we saw. Bone Crusher Giants are still okay, because they're 4-power creatures. I don't know about these Graveyard Trespassers, I will be honest about that. Into Shakedown Heavies, they're not looking too good. Shadow's Verdict does sound good though. We'll do that. The Cry does not seem great. Nikki B can kill the Shakedown Heavies and Galtas, so I think it is worth keeping. Discovery Dispersal is fine. These cards all seem okay. Oh, Sorin the Mirthless is definitely awful. Certified awful against Shakedown Heavy combo. Flies over and kills Obnixili though. But I mean, we have other ways of dealing with Obnixili in Bone Crushers, Commands, Baleful Masteries, Angwarth's Rampages, Nicol Bolaii's Dragon Gods. Like, it's a bit cobbled together, but it should still allow us to, like, it should still be enough to help deal with Obnixis. Obnixis is not that big of a threat if he doesn't have turn 2 to sacrifice. Play first. What is this? What the fuck? What the hell was that? Same deal as last time. Steam Vents should allow us to just go on that land away. That makes sense. That is a card with this deck will absolutely play. We are... what are we looking for? Crops of Fate. Okay. As long as we don't get Love Struck this time. We're not going to. We'll see if we can't box these away and Obnixilis. There we are. And then if we draw a black source, we will have Fatal Push for token and Angwarth's Rampage for the other creature. Did draw the black source. We can also play Ravager. Now this completely just this completely negates the board because he has 3 lands and then the Lustrous Beast is not doing anything, and he has enough lands in his hand. He has enough lands in his hand to discard to the Nicol Bolaii, but this doesn't matter as much. And also if he goes Lustrous Beast, then the next time we can untap and play Nicol Bolaii Dragon God and kill it. That would also be pretty good. But that would again require us to draw another untapped black source. If we don't do that, then we can still just play Nicol Bolaii. There's an interesting myriad of threats that we can focus on the things that we do, and totals. There is a myriad of like weird threats in this format, man. Feels good. Nicol Bolaii on an empty board. It doesn't get to generate value immediately, and there's a chance that he has something stupid like a Bone Crusher Giant to get rid of this, in which case we will be sad. No,
stand with me.
I assure
You're
you,
my enemy.
I will not be discarding my Nicol Bolaii for that. You can have your
punishment
full drainage. This card is a
my
lot less impressive
entertainment.
when it does not get to copy off of Casualty, I will tell you that much. Just draw, start getting his permanents to exile. Okay.
My
Yeah, if you're sure.
schemes
We
are
do
never
this, and
ending.
then we do this now. And then we will decline to discard and take our 2 again. We're gonna hold this in case he -2s. Sure. I will not be discarding. Because
Pleasure doing business.
if he -2, then I could just finish it off with the Bone Crusher. Can still do that. So now I'll Bone Crush here. We'll draw a card. Oh well, now I don't even need to attack. Okay, we have Cologon's Command.
Eons ago.
That's fine. We'll kill that. And then we can
Wipe that
soft
smug
lock
look
him
off
out
your
of the
face.
game by making him discard here. So we'll go target player discards a card, Cologon's Command. Target player. Deal 2 damage there. Yeah. Because now he's pretty hardcore locked out of the game. He's going to take 8 next turn. He's going to have to find answers. Lethal Ward. That worked out. That plan worked. Graveyard Trespasser would not have been good there. Sorin would not have been good there. Anger would not have been good there. Small chance Ashiok would be decent here. So maybe there's a world in which we chuck Croxus or Thoughtseizes. But no, Thoughtseize to take away the orb is really, really powerful. Blood Chiefs. Lovestruck Beast makes me a little leery. I will say that. Card is really big. We do threaten with 3CM. We do struggle a little with killing 3CMC big guys, huh? That's definitely a weakness this deck has. Like, it doesn't play any Infernal Grasp or things of that nature. Something to potentially rectify. Try bringing a couple of these. Maybe shave a Thoughtseize? No. No way, that's correct. Shave Croxus. Shakedown Heavies have Menace anyway. Alright. Because if the stuff he's playing is like 4 CMC or above, if those are his creature values, then we do have like big ways to remove them. What is this? Are you seeing the streak of horrific luck? Keep 6, but oh my gosh. I suppose we don't need the Tainted Indulgence. Jesus. We did get rid of Croxa, didn't we? We have no problem whatsoever with this. We literally do not care about this card. So we mulligan, but so did the opponent. That's a yay for me. Okay, well, he did nothing, which makes me feel as though he almost assuredly has a Shakedown Heavy. Fight rigging. That's not scary. If you don't control a big creature, this is not scary at all. It's just very interesting thinking from the opponent, though. I did not think about that these combos when I saw this card spoiled. I didn't realize that Shakedown Heavy and Lost Beast would give you multiple and running. Opponent's popping off. The great page! What just happened? You need to find a Kologon's command ASAP. If you do. Oh, he discarded Ob? He must have another one to help him draw 7 cards. That's nice. No, obviously no attacks. Discard a card. What's it gonna be, champ? This is non-tokens only, right? Yes, non-tokens. So Obnixil's making Devils does not trigger this. Just making sure. Discarded a second. Does he have a third Ob in hand? How are you turning down drawing 7 cards repeatedly? Fatal Push. Why are you so bad at this? Fatal Push, please. And he gets to cast it. What is happening? I need to find a Crox of Fate. Are we taking 10? What's the alternative? Don't take 10? And chump? I mean, we've got another Bolas coming. But, god dang! Opponent's got some things happening. That's not a Crux of Fate. Regisaur, turn down the card draw repeatedly. Fight rigging Great Henge, fight rigging Shakedown Heavy, cast a Galta. What did we learn from this, boys? We learned that it's not just enough to have efficient cards that kill little creatures. It's also important to have efficient removal to kill big creatures. Something to reflect on. We definitely need to augment our removal suite for nonsense like this. If that Fatal Push is capable of killing that initial Regisaur, let's say, then his fight rigging never triggers, and none of this happens. So we need hard removal. Tapping Yuma. just one bonus round. We don't care about this. We kind of care about this. This is Cemetery Gatekeeper. We don't have a way to kill this. Kumano faces Kakazans. These will eventually come down, but I don't think I mind the eventually as much. So we are right now taking maximum damage from the Gatekeeper. So I think we take the Gatekeeper. And the next turn we seriously consider whether or not we want to cast this Tainted Indulgence for paying 2 life, if that's the right thing. I want this to the Kazan. Started very, very good addition already. Well, that's great. If I known we'd be drawing that, then I would not have cast the Cemetery Gatekeeper. As it is, I don't think we can afford to not play anything, so we'll just take the Indulgence here. Get rid of the Thoughtseize, card's bad in this matchup. I would rather him play his cards and me get rid of them. Although it could have been good to deal with the Goblin Chain Whirler, because we do not currently have an answer for it. But I'm sure we'll find it. Okay. That's unfortunate, because he found... he got a really positive fate. That's unfortunate that he got the Wobbler there, because... it's a 3-3, so it can't, it's a 4-3 needed to fight against this 3-3. Like, we couldn't stomp it anymore, so now we just have to play it out as a blocker, which is definitely sucky. He might also just not do that, and he might just play out Chain Whirler, but if he didn't draw lands for the Chain Whirler, that's different. You're letting me block like that. This is... he's hoping to Chain Whirl me. But I have a second... Bone Crusher. So if he's hoping to Chain Whirl me... it doesn't happen. Sure. We'll just play a tap Xander's Lounge, because I don't feel like taking damage to cast this Tainted Indulgence. Life points are valuable. Oh, he's gonna cast the Chain Whirler now. Rampage and Velociraptor first can't gain life. We'll be getting rid of that. That thing also has Menace, which is not ideal. That was a very good draw. Because it would have been if this thing didn't stop me from gaining life. Gosh darn it. We need to find the second crux of space. Yeah. This is awful. At least we get to walk in the etchings of Kumano. Yes, we can Chain Whirl this away. Which is less than ideal. We need to draw a second crux of fate here. That's blocking for us. And then we might just override it. Because we are 2. Dangerous place to be. No life gain. Okay. Mono red. Ran into the exact same problem. Our cards just weren't big enough to kill the opponent's 3 toughness critters. That seems to be a pretty common criticism. So we've seen samples, like a good few sample size of games where our deck got to do what it wanted to do. It got to disrupt the opponent, it got to play Nicol Bolaii, it got to play Planeswalkers, it got to wrap their boards, and then we got to win. There were a couple games that were close that we could have won that we didn't win, and then the Control Mirror, it does really, really well, and especially post-sideboard. However, we are currently significantly lacking in 2 departments. Once we fall low, we have very few ways of catching back up in life total. We have a couple of ways, but they're a little too slow for what's happening in the rest of the game. So we need to find slightly more reliable ways of gaining life. That's one thing. And second thing is, there's a lot of big boy creatures that we had a really hard time killing. Shakedown Heavies and Rotting Regisaurs and Galtas, I suppose. But also, more commonly, just 3-drops that don't die to Bone Crusher Giant. gave us a lot of trouble. So I think that's a weakness that we definitely need to address moving forward. We need to build in more removal into the deck that we can just point to a creature and say make it go away. We would have won a lot of, we would have definitely won quite a few games, like that game against the Rotting Regisaur deck, and also absolutely the game against this mono red deck just now. We could have won them if we had better removal. So I think let's just clean up the sideboard. Instead of hoping to cobble together a few silver bullets, let's just have a more focused strategy for gaining life and removing cards. Malevolent Hermit overperformed in the control mirror that we brought it in against, so I think that at least is going to stay. But we should seriously rethink these Angrot's Rampages and Bloodchief's Thirsts and a lot of these one-offs, because they are supplements to what the deck is already capable of doing, but a lot of the times they weren't answering the questions being asked. Angrot's Rampage needs an empty board in order to be useful, and while that will sometimes happen, a lot of the time when we wanted to kill things, like Angrot's Rampage just wasn't able to get the job done because, you know, the board is almost never clear enough for us to do this. It's versatile. It does let you sacrifice planes, it does let you allow you to Edict, so this is not our worst removal spell, but a lot of these cards that we have just could not kill bigger creatures, and that's definitely a problem we have to address going forward. Well, hopefully you learned some stuff about deck building, about sideboarding. Hopefully you had a good first glance at what Grixis can look like in this format. If you have any comments, feedback, suggestions, as always, please let me know. Until next time, peace, have a wonderful day.